I am Richard Okuti, and I currently work for the International Trade Center as the National Project Coordinator of a project called the project is called the NTF4 project. And what NTF4 stands for is the Netherland Trust Fund, and 4 is for phase 4, which means there were other phases earlier, but this is the 4th phase. So the Netherland Trust Fund project, in this case of Uganda, is involved in promoting trade in IT and IT-enabled services. What this means is that we engage with SMEs that are involved in developing and trading technology products and services, such as programming, delivery of management information systems, websites, mobile apps, and many other technologies. But also we work with companies that hinge on technology or use technology as their primary vehicle for delivering a service. Again, by way of example, I'm talking about companies like companies with contact centers, companies that do data entry, publishing companies, research companies. All these companies tend to use information technology as a primary vehicle to deliver their services. So that's why we call them IT-enabled services companies, and mostly SMEs and startups. So my role is to coordinate the activities of capacity building and linkages for SMEs and startups, but we also work with industry or sector associations to build their knowledge and skills in delivering member services to their members. Some of those ICTAU and ETIS that you have been, the ETIS people who are at the summit today. We also collaborate with the government to influence their policy making, to ensure that they take care of some of the issues that we find important to be addressed at their level. And so generally that is what we do in Uganda. So yesterday's meeting was what we call the NTF4 breakfast meeting. That meeting is primarily for knowledge sharing, but networking as well. Because sometimes we have a collection of companies and associations that do not know each other. So they can collaborate, even if some of them are competitors, but they can collaborate and come together to share their challenges and jointly find solutions for them, but also to share information on markets that they can access and potential partners that they can make in the markets that they want to access. So there is a lot of synergies that can be developed out of those kind of meetings. So yesterday we had what? So again, I told you, like I mentioned at the beginning, if I may elaborate, the ITC is a joint agency of the UN and the World Trade Organization. So what the International Trade Center, that is ITC, does is to go into countries where they find a need to, help develop that country, and use 4 pillars mainly in this project. We use mainly 4 pillars. One of the pillars is collaborating with government. The other pillar is to collaborate with the sector associations. In this case, ETIS is the sector association. The other pillar is to work directly with the SMEs as well. And the other pillar is to set up opportunities for linkages to markets, investors, and potential partners. So those are the 4 pillars that we use to guide our intervention in a country. So in this case, we are working with ETIS to help them build themselves into an organization that can be a repository of knowledge and skills that can be used to further grow the sector. Because remember, this is a project, and at a certain point it will come to an end. So we need to transfer this knowledge and skills to organizations that can serve a wider audience, like an alliance or an association. So we work with them to share knowledge and skills so that they improve their strategy and their services to their members and also improve the knowledge they share with their members, so that their members can also access bigger markets, collaborate more, and generally cause growth to the economy. So in our case, if we see that their members are employing more people in jobs, they are earning more revenue for their businesses, and they are paying more taxes to government, then generally that facilitates the development process. So that is how we come to engage with an alliance. So indeed, that's a very, very tough issue to address, because it's an issue where you have to address so many different challenges. One is the challenge of unemployment is big and real in this country. So even among the startups, you may have, out of 100 startups, you may have a percentage of them that are in this business because they are not employed. But eventually when they get jobs, they leave and get employed. And that makes so that takes away some of the startups we might want to develop into better companies. In some cases, you find that they just have a poor attitude and are not focused on business, so they are not ready to learn and implement good business practices, so they will also drop out. So eventually you remain with a few that make it all the way. They improve their business processes, they learn, they link with potential investors and so forth. So it's always difficult to have all the 100%, but as the years increase, we believe that the numbers will increase, because then those that do not believe so much in the possibility of growing from a startup to a big business will see from the others who have grown. So it's a process. It will continue and it will grow over time. I think it's a related question. This is still a process. The trust in local businesses, based on the history of this country, is something that we have to acquire over time. We have to show government that we have capacity to deliver the kind of solutions they want, and increase the numbers of companies that can deliver these solutions locally. Then it will start to build, or it will increase the trust that government has in its own private sector. But right now the trust is a bit low, because these companies usually default. For instance, you get a contract from government, you tell them you're going to deliver in 3 months, then you deliver in 9 months, and then it's a problem. Or you get a contract from government, you say you can deliver a solution at a certain standard, then you deliver a substandard, product or solution. So on the private sector, we have to improve our methods of work, improve our project management, improve our skills in standard programming. Even being a programmer alone is not enough. You have to be able to follow certain standards, be able to document your work so that any other person can come and take over from where you left, and so forth and so forth. So these weaknesses reduce the trust that government has for us. So we have to play our role and increase trust. But government also has a role to play. They also have to look out for us, because the government is like the parent of the country. They have to ensure that they are delivering and buying from us, so that we can gainfully be employed. So in that way, they have to actively also look out for solutions that can be bought locally. So in this case, the role of the NTF IV project and associations like ETIS would be to create this link between the government and the private sector, to show the government what can be bought from our private sector and how we can work together to build that trust and grow it. So I believe it's work in progress. The international market. Yes, actually, that's a very interesting question. The NTF IV project has always been ready. That's the interesting part. In the project, we have always been ready, but we do not want to take businesses to the export market before they've met certain quality standards. Before they can also, because the export market is even worse than our government. If, for example, we took one company to Europe to deliver a solution and they failed. In Europe, they don't say company X failed. They say country X failed. So the whole country is dismissed. So we are actually ready to take as many companies as possible. But what we see right now is that it's important for us to improve our standards first, to improve our project management, to improve our international communication, because communication in international projects is very important, to improve our programming standards, our contact center standards, data entry standards, publishing, research standards, all these things. Once we grow them all, then we are able to go out and confidently say we can deliver this solution. Maybe what I would say lastly is that it's important that we test whatever we are doing within Uganda first before we export it. So right now the tested companies are still few, but we have always been ready, and the more they become, the merrier for us, the more we'll test.